faster it grows, right? So achieving that product market fit is very important, and before that, creating an MVP is important, and before that, creating an amazing team of intrapreneurs who share similar vision is the most important part.
There's one question from Komal Sharma in the chat box. When have you decided to start up your own business? What happens like you have decided to make a startup in this conversation field, making stickers, GIF and all? How you have named these applications? That is a conversation field, Bobble AI. So where did this name come from? Actually, she wants to know.
Great question. Yes, prima facie, it might look like a sticker GIF app, but there is a lot to it. If you go to our website, Bobble.ai, and many of you also asked revenue model for our business. When you go to our website, Bobble.ai, you would see the different businesses that we are into. While the most, relatable product for you is stickers and GIFs, but there are many more uh, things that goes behind the scene to create a sustainable, fundamentally strong business out of it, right? When we started the company, or rather when we pivoted the company in 2015, the very first product was creating stickers or comic stories from selfie, right? Selfie to bobblehead. The name Bobble came from that toy many of you would relate to, where the toy has a bigger head, a smaller body, and head jiggles, right? Typically used or typically stuck in the dashboard of the cars, right? That's the bobblehead toy. So this was the inspiration for us because the product that we had created had a larger head, a bobblehead, which is created from the selfie, and that was the basis for choosing the name Bobble, right? Later on, when we added keyboard into the portfolio in 2016, and when we jumped into that larger vision of enhancing smartphone conversations, we realized that there is a need for a media platform, just like social media platform, but social media is all about those platforms which are public in nature, right? So when you display something on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, many of your friends and friends of friends are able to view your post, right? But there is a separate sort of parallel platform which was growing in leaps and bounds, and that was conversation platforms like WhatsApp or Telegram or WeChat or Line, right? And these were the platforms where there was a need for creating innovative enhancements, and that's what we did with our deep tech. And that's why we called ourselves a conversation media platform. It's very similar to social media platform, but focused towards conversations, focused towards those one-on-one or one-to-few intimate conversations that we have with our friends and family members, right? And that's why conversation media platform. Bobble AI got added in 2018 because we revamped all our traditional algorithms with AI powered algorithm, because that was, we realized that we shouldn't be lagging behind in using the newest tech, and we started leveraging AI to its fullest extent. And that's when we rebranded ourselves to reinvent the culture within the organization to focus towards AI and related newest technologies. I hope I was able to answer your question, Komal.
Yeah, so now we have Kaustav Vishwas from 11B. He was calling a while ago. Kaustav, please ask your question. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Kaustav, I can't hear you.
No, I think. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. We have from Swasti Ranjan, 7SEM CSE. So what is your revenue model and how did you market your app?
Okay. Yes, Swasti, right? Okay. So when you look at our consumer-facing products, which is typically different keyboard applications, and when you look at 65 million users who are using these keyboard applications on a daily basis, um, when you think, you will realize that there are three different assets that we generate for our company. The first asset is data, right? There's enormous amount of value added data that comes from the smartphone usage, which is highly valuable, right? So data becomes one of the major asset for us. The second asset is content sharing. Content is one of the USPs in the product, and therefore, when people share content, and there are more than 500 million pieces of content that get shared from a platform every month. And When you share this content sharing itself becomes the asset for us, right? So that's the second asset. And the engagement, which is the amount of time that you spend on the platform and the number of sessions that you make on an everyday basis, that also forms part of the asset to our organization. So there are three assets: data, content, and engagement. Each one of these assets is monetized through a unique revenue stream, an innovative revenue stream, which is mentioned on our website. When you go to our website, go to data intelligence section to understand how we monetize the data, which is the fundamental philosophy is, I'm not sure if you'll be able to relate with it. The philosophy we call it is insights to activation, which means we provide different digital service providers market intelligence and competitive intelligence, and those intelligence is then connected with the marketing campaign activation platforms, and that helps in generating value for our client and revenue for us, right? Content sharing, again, we call it conversation media marketing, which is very similar to social media marketing, but rather, we help brands become a part of their customers' daily conversation by bringing their logo in the relevant products in stickers and gifs, right? So this becomes a innovative way of marketing your brand, your products. That's what we call as conversation media marketing. You can read more about it in our website on the top menu. The third is engagement, which is when people are spending time and creating more sessions on our platform, we are able to monetize that time and session by providing contextual recommendations, right? Just imagine you are opening Uber and trying to book a cab, and then keyboard suggests you, why don't you book the cab through Ola, because they're offering 10% off, right? So it's a contextual recommendation being made at the right time to the right user with the right messaging, and that's what generates revenue for us. I hope I was able to answer your questions, Swasti. Three revenue streams. You can read more about it.
Next, we have a question from Sahil Khan from second year CSE. As a student, in which area we can focus for knowledge enhancement and fetching a good job?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. In which area we can focus for knowledge enhancement
Focus for that would fetch us a good job as a student. Which are the areas that they need to focus on?
Sahil, I think you know, I think the most important part is you need to focus on building yourself, right? Invest on yourself, and that has always been my mantra. Even today, like I told you, I'm learning mentalism, right? But I'm learning magic as a skill. I'm learning tennis. I'm learning metaverse. I'm learning NFTs, right? Because when you learn for and that learning has to be in alignment with the passion that you follow. Of course, you cannot learn things that you don't like, right? Even if you learn that, it won't matter because you don't like doing that. So learn things that you like and go into the depth of it, right? Don't just scratch the surfaces or expand your horizontal knowledge. At that stage that you are in right now, at that an early stage, early age, I would always recommend to start getting into the depth of things instead of going into the horizontal. What it means is, if you learn about all different domains, but if you have if you have just learned the basics of it and haven't gone into the depth of it, then none of that domain is meaningful for you or will give you any meaningful results. But if you, after scratching surfaces of 3 4 domains, if you pick one and then get into the vertical depth of it and learn each and every aspect of it and make yourself and evolve yourself as an expert of that domain, then that is going to bring much more fruitful results for you, because then companies who are operating in that domain would want to have you, right? Would want to invest on you. Investors would want to invest on you if you are working on that, on your own idea on that domain, right? And you'll be eventually successful. So the idea is to build yourself, invest on yourself around the different passion that you carry, and increase the depth of knowledge on those domains.
Next, we have Ritika Alok from 11A Rajendra Vidyalaya Sakchi. She has typed her question in the box. Knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently when you had first started?
Yes, I think I could have found better mentors during my early stage. Unfortunately, I did not have that. I was more sort of a rebellious character, a rebellion personality, when I wanted to do things differently, and therefore I always, worked solo. I wanted to create an impact solo, which was a big mistake that I was doing. I think there is a merit in bringing people together. There is a merit in finding a mentor for yourself in the field that you want to get into, right? A right mentor can guide you and can help you overcome obstacles and help you not fall for the reasons of, typical reasons of failure, right? So there are certain things which no one should do in a given field, and the mentor in that field can tell you that, these are the things, that typical mistakes that one makes, and that will save your time, right? Because either you can learn by doing the same mistake again, or you can learn by person who has made those mistakes. So find the right mentor for yourself, and that was this is something that I would have done differently if if I ever. I'm not sure, but yeah, if I had started my life differently.
Next, we have Shyama Singh from third year CSE. So, share your personal story about an experience that defines who you are today.
Okay. Um, when I was 21, I believe, yeah, 21, 22. At that time, I started this company, and right from the beginning, I used to call myself a founder and CEO, because it is very typical in the startup industry, right? Um, and You would notice, and you would probably relate to it, that today there are, anyone who starts a startup is a founder and CEO. It's so natural, right? And today we accept them as founder and CEO, right? But just imagine 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when I was starting up and I started writing founder and CEO in my profile, people used to laugh at me, right? And it was not that natural at that point of time, right? Startups was not much heard of. Startup word has been recognized in India mostly after 2016 Startup India Revolution. But before that, I'm talking about 2011-12, when I used to write myself as founder and CEO of a company. Friends used to make fun of me. Some of the family members, extended family members, used to make fun. And most importantly, people used to not take me seriously, right? And this was the defining moment for me. I think that experience has changed me, and that made me more determined. So either you can take those criticism for your, against you, or you can take those criticism can either demotivate you, or you can channelize those criticism in the right direction to build more motivation inside you to prove them wrong, right? And this is, I think, one of the secrets, because during your entrepreneurial journey, or in general in your life, you would face such criticism. There will always be people who will tell you are wrong, right? And then it depends whether you take that feedback on your heart and start feeling that you might be wrong and start demotivating yourself, or you take it as a challenge and make sure that you prove the other person right, wrong, right? And I think that art of converting criticism and channelizing it for empowering your own vision is something very powerful, and you can try adopting it in your life. Yeah.
So we have many students who are eager to ask you questions. So would you like to answer more questions or?
We can take one last or one or two last. I think that should be
Sure,
fine.
sir. Okay. Okay,
11:30.
sir. So yeah, so we have Costa Vishwas, 11B, Rajendra Vidyalaya. He has typed his question. What are the key factors of entrepreneurship?
Key factors of entrepreneurs. I didn't get that question. Can you elaborate? Can you please unmute yourself and elaborate the question?
Costa, are you there? Please unmute yourself.
I think one of the interesting question that I see on the chat screen right now is from Megha. What do you enjoy the most about being an entrepreneur? And I would like to answer that question. Um, the the most beautiful part of being an entrepreneur is time freedom and money freedom. When I say time freedom, I don't mean that I have excessive amount of time available. What I mean is I can invest my time anywhere I wish, right? I can invest it in talking to a young generation like you. I can invest it into a business pitch, or I can invest it into leisure and traveling and exploring, etc., right? There is always a time freedom being an entrepreneur, right? And the other one is money freedom, because you make enough money to be able to do things that you always wanted to. So if you want time freedom and money freedom, then entrepreneurship is a good choice you might want to consider.
We have one question from Priya Kumari, 7th Sem EC. How is Bobble AI keyboard different from Google keyboard?
Okay, that's like a VC asking me a question of product differentiation, competitive landscape, which is fine. So, sorry, who asked this question, Anumita?
Priya Kumari from 7th semester Electronics and Communication Engineering. That's
Okay,
it.
okay. So, Priya, um, I would say कभी भी ना दो प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंट हो सकता है, बट कंपटीशन कभी भी उस प्रोडक्ट के फीचर्स को कॉपी कर सकता है. इट्स अ फैक्ट, राइट? कोई भी ऐसा फीचर या ऐसा प्रोडक्ट नहीं आप बना सकते जो कॉपी ना हो सके. बहुत मुश्किल है, बहुत ही रेयर है कि एक ऐसा प्रोडक्ट किसी ने बनाया जो कभी कॉपी ही नहीं हो सके, राइट? तो दो कंपनी को या दो प्रोडक्ट को जो चीज डिफरेंशिएट करती है वो होता है उस कंपनी का कल्चर, उस कंपनी का लीडरशिप, और उस लीडरशिप का थॉट प्रोसेस. जो मैंने शायद अपने इनिशियल टॉक में बताया भी था कि जिस तरीके से हम सोचते हैं, जो हमारा थॉट प्रोसेस है, वो वही हम बोलते हैं, वही हम करते हैं, और उसी से आउटकम निकल करके आता है, राइट? गूगल जी बोर्ड अपने आप को एक यूटिलिटी की तरह सोचता है, राइट? एक यूटिलिटी जो टाइपिंग एनहांस करने के लिए बनी है. गूगल जी बोर्ड स्टार्टिंग से ही ऐसा सोचता आया है, बट बॉबल कीबोर्ड अपने आप को एक प्लेटफॉर्म की तरह सोचता है, एक होलिस्टिक प्लेटफॉर्म जिसका पर्पस, जिसका गोल थोड़ा ब्रॉड है. हमारा गोल पूरे स्मार्टफोन कॉन्वर्सेशन एक्सपीरियंस को एनहांस करना है, इसलिए हम अपने आप को कॉन्वर्सेशन मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म बुलाते हैं. जीबोर्ड अपने आप को एक कीबोर्ड यूटिलिटी बुलाता है. और ये जो फंडामेंटल थॉट प्रोसेस है, ये इन दोनों प्रोडक्ट को डिफरेंशिएट कर रहा है और करता रहेगा. क्योंकि हम उसे प्लेटफॉर्म की तरह बिल्ड करते रहेंगे, हम उसके अंदर सुपर कीबोर्ड जैसी चीज लेकर के आ रहे हैं कि आप अपने दोस्तों के साथ बातें कर रहे हैं और आपको गोवा जाने का मन है, तो आप अपनी फ्लाइट बुकिंग अपनी होटल रिजर्वेशन सब कुछ बात करते करते कीबोर्ड के थ्रू कर सकते हैं, आपको कहीं बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Now this feature we were able to think because we imagine it as a platform. Gboard is not able to think because they imagine it as a typing utility, right? So they were able to think of features that and can enhance only your typing experience. So this is the fundamental difference.
Okay, we'll take only two more questions now. So the second last question, as I must say, it's on time management by Abhinav Raj. So how do you manage your time amongst various activities?
Yeah, great question, Abhinav. Um, Time is the most valuable asset that one possesses, and I invest my time where I enjoy. Very simple answer to the most complex problem. Invest your time where you enjoy, right? And when you enjoy, you will create value for yourself from that time, right? Ultimately, time is limited. Everything is else is limitless. So that's a very simple answer to your question, Naveen.
Okay, the last question is from Tanisha. Are you planning to grow your startup even more? And what are your future predictions regarding metaverse?
Sorry, whose question was that? Tanisha.
Tanisha. She has typed her question in the chat box.
Uh, no, I am not able to find it. Okay. Are you planning to grow your startup even more or seeing Indians' current growing aspect? You will explain your vision in different fields. What are your future prediction regarding metaverse? Okay. Um, Tanisha, good question. Look, every company continues to grow, right? There is no stopping, there is no limit to it. We will also continue to grow. We are learning from the customer experience, we are learning from our own data points and the market signals to arrive at direction that makes more sense for our future, right? And one of the direction that we have taken in the immediate term is to build a super keyboard. The one that I just explained, how we envision to facilitate commerce, how we envision to facilitate service transaction during the flow of conversation while you are chatting with your friends on WhatsApp through the 30 or 40% real estate that we own inside the keyboard, right? So that's the growth path that we have chosen for ourselves. And what was the second question? Prediction regarding metaverse. So I think metaverse is a little early. There's a lot of talks going on around it. From the sci-fi movies that we have watched in while we were kids, it seems to be a direction that is bound to happen. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. But since the larger companies have jumped into the space, be it Facebook and now Microsoft with that $68 billion equation they did recently, I think people are bound to make it happen. It will be interesting to see how it changes the humanity because it's something new, as new, and it's hard to predict, right? What is going to happen? We are also doing a bit of experiments around the NFTs and metaverse within our company to not feel lacking behind. Um, and at least in the near term, at least in the next 1 to 2 years, we see that space growing, stabilizing itself, becoming more mature, and the infrastructures are going to be created. Only then, maybe 2 3 years down the line, by the time you would be becoming an entrepreneur yourself, would be the right time to jump into the game and build innovations that which has the metaverse as the fundamental basis, or the universe. Right, so that's the thought process on metaverse. Yes, Anumita, I think we will have to wrap up now. It was
Yes, sir, sure.
it was great to you know see young people, young students asking very relevant questions, very pertinent questions. Um, and I'm glad that you took it with excitement and positivity. And I
Yes,
wish
sir.
please, if you wish to connect
It
with me,
was.
you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram if you wish. I'm everywhere and I'm available for great, good conversations. So happy to engage with you on further conversation over LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.
It was indeed a very interactive session, sir, with close to 250 participants logged in. And I'm sure all the attendees must have taken inspiration from you to achieve something really remarkable in their life. And I've shared your LinkedIn ID with all the participants. And now I would request Mrs. Rakhi Banerjee, Principal of Rajendra Vidyalaya Sakchi, to please propose the vote of thanks for today's session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Anumitra. A graceful and warm morning to our most valued guests, worthy teachers, management committee members, and most beloved children. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. This is Mrs. Rakhi Banerjee, Principal Rajendra Vidyalaya Sakchi. On behalf of Rajendra Vidyalaya Sakchi and the entire fraternity of Bassett College, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the eminent speaker, Mr. Ankit, who spared time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion and share with us his opinion. Ankit, you are living the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, Atma Nirbhar Bharat. The youth of today want to be entrepreneurs, but lack the proper guidance. Your presentation, I am sure, will go a long way in encouraging them to take this career option. Spirit. Thank you, Dr. S.K. Singh, Vice President, Bihar Association, and Chairman Bassett, for enabling this webinar and giving a platform to the youth of our organization to understand the nuances of startups. Further, a big thank you to the Master of Ceremony, Ms. Anumitra Sengupta, for her effort towards anchoring of today's webinar. I mention my deepest sense of appreciation and would place on my record my hearty thanks to all the volunteers because of whom we made this function possible. I also extend thanks to all the teachers for the cooperation in this function. Teachers of Rajendra Vidyalaya, especially the teachers of teaching classes 11 and 12, and to all the faculty of Bassett. Events like this cannot happen overnight. The wheel for the event started rolling weeks ago and required planning and bird's eye view for details. Here, we are fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very dedicated, motivated team who know their task and are very much committed. I cannot thank enough for the willingness and involvement to take on the completion of the work beyond their comfort zone. I specifically thank the people who have been the backbone of the event, especially the technical management team. Finally, a big thank you to all of you for being with us and participating actively in this interesting webinar delivered by Mr. Ankit. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So with this, we come to the end of this program. Thank you all.